Can I get a amen? Like praying people clapping in the cabin when the plane lands. Saw him cross the street, what up, Captain? That's my main man.
I've been racing against time, trying my best to find my way, change my world in just one day, blowing coke all up my nose, getting in and out my clothes, fooling around with midnight hoes. Then a chapter of my life's closed. From the day we're born to the day we're in the ground, woo. I've been racing against time, trying my best to find my way, change my life in just one day, going in and out my clothes, blowing coke all up my nose, fooling around with midnight hoes, but that chapter of my life's closed. From the day we're born to the day we're in the ground, woo. Shout out to the great Marvin Gaye. How many of y'all ready to make a change? Happy 2026. Oh, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. You know, things are changing. Don't stay static. You got to keep certain stuff rooted. But, you know, we have to flow with this thing as this thing flows around us, or you're drowned. One of the things specifically that I want people to change immediately, this is lightweight what I'm going to talk about, but not specifically. But if you are, if I'm talking to you right now, this goes for men and for women. I'm talking to you right now, for you. If you or any of your friends or associates, let me say that, people who you will call on the phone or whose call you will accept, is not taking care of their parental responsibilities, and a real effort isn't being made for the change to occur, you got to call it what it is. It's weak, it's destructive, it is bull jive. It is bull jive. It is not worthy of you accepting that bull jive. And if you are accepting that, if you're accepting that from yourself, you got to spend a lot of time in the mirror. And if that mirror don't help you, you need to seek a lot of time seeking help. Before you go out and pop any of your shit around anybody about who you are and I'm so-and-so, I'm this, I'm that, nah. Before you talk about I'm about to go on vacation, nah. Before you about to go treat yourself with a big dinner, nah. If you're not handling your parental responsibilities, I mean, we got to check this at the door of the new year. Like, I mean, for real, you deserve monthly beatings. You do. I mean, life is going to put hands on you. It's going to put hands on you if it hasn't already. But that's for you to fix. I'm not going to spend all day on you. But if one of your friends, this is where you have control. If it's not you, if you're the friend of somebody or an associate of somebody who is not taking care of their parental responsibilities. And I mean, when I say parental responsibilities, that comes in two flavors, right? One is you're not fixing breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And you're not paying for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And you're not helping with homework on a regular basis. And here's an easy one. You don't know at least two of the child's teachers' names at school. If that's you, you ain't doing enough. You ain't doing enough. So if you're that, I sent the check, but then the door is open for you to be doing more, but you're not doing more, nah. And then for some of you who aren't even sending the check, nah. But if you're friends with somebody like that, and that behavior, that person's not changing, excommunicate yourself. Because that person is a loser and they're not ready to make a change. And standing next to them, you look like a loser who's not ready to make a change. And it's 2026, baby. And we're changing. Welcome to the very first episode of mine of 2026. This episode 94. Could be 95. I don't even know, but I'm going to let you know for real some other. Here we go with Sorry for My Language, the new year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Hey, ain't it good to be here? We made it to another calendar. Another calendar. Yes, here we are. Sorry for my language. I'm Grindstone. Hope you feeling stupendous. Hope you got to see all your loved ones. And if you didn't get to see your loved ones, I hope you loved on yourself. I hope you wrote down. And if you haven't yet, it's still very early in the year, but it's time now to, on paper, with a pen or pencil or crayon or chalk or marker, write down some promises to yourself. Put the date and time on that paper. Okay, this is a secret. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. When you write things down in a way where you were focused when you wrote them down, something happens that doesn't happen when you don't write it down. Outside of just the act of writing it and putting the piece of paper somewhere, something happens. And the things end up forcing themselves towards manifestation if you access them. Okay? That's all in the mind. I was watching some movie about magic. I think it was someone on that Netflix joint. I don't even know if it was Netflix. And Netflix ain't paying me no money to mention them. But it was something about, it was on Lovecraft Country. And I think that was Lovecraft Country. And it was these people who knew magic. And the forces of the magic controlled, it let you do whatever the fuck you want to do. Right? But in order to access it, you had to have some esoteric information, but then you had to believe and apply it. And I think that as black people have the easiest job at manifesting magic. But not so fast. Everybody does. We can all manifest magic as organic beings who are connected to this earth, and this earth invisibly connected to the magnetic field and the solar system, and us just connected to all things. It renders our eyesight, smell, sense of hearing, taste, and touch very weak and very limiting if we think that those things dictate all that we can see and do. So with that being said, we all have forces of the unseen that we are able to control and take part in, both. So access your magic for real, okay? And, you know, you could limit it to a rabbit out of a hat if that's what you want to do, or watch me turn this napkin into a bird or something. But, you know, think a little deeper. Do the work. And all that's part of introspection, you know. Introspection is when you look within yourself and take an inventory. And at that point, you're going to see some things, and some things you may want to change. You're even going to see some things that you may want to change with your affiliation and proximity to other things. And back to what I was saying about parenting. Man, boy, I missed that shit. I stopped at cooking and all that shit, right? Another part of parenting, I'm going back. Another part of parenting where you have to look at if you're succeeding or failing as a parent in your effort is if you're keeping the child from experiencing the guidance of the child's other parent just because you and the other parent don't agree, right? If you and the other parent don't agree, that's you and the other parent. Y'all agreed when it was gushy. Y'all agreed when that song was playing and the candle was lit. Now it's time for the kid and the parent to get their agreements on, right? And it's time for you to allow that. Take your hands off and just, hey, fuck it. Go to your daddy's. Go to your mama's, right? And y'all have to have that exchange because that's the only way you're going to have a balanced child. Not out here searching for a different type of male or female figure of authority who they can trust and be guided by. Now, if the person is on drugs or, the person has a real problem when it comes to intimacy and kids or something like that, okay, protect your child. But man, outside of that, you have to allow the child to experience life with somebody who loves them. And even if that way that they have life set up is different from the way you have life set up, you should not control that child's experience there because life is outside of your control. So if they don't see a different way from somebody who loves them, the next time they see a different way is going to be about somebody who don't really give a fuck. And you standing in the way of that delays the child's learning curve. And it limits the child from who else they would know besides your ass. Right? So that's another way to be a poor parent. But my main thing in terms of making a change for the new year for just a lot of people, this is just a sweeping statement. If you are not being a present parent, your contributions to the world have already been compromised. The integrity of them, the validity of them, the everything, it just renders you an asterisk bench rider in man or womanhood. You just gum on the shoe for real. Like you ain't shit. So start there and then work up. Okay? I don't even like trying to pretend I'm the most astute, upright person, but I know that the people who raised me, they didn't start with much. But what they did they had like a focus and they were very clear about discipline and sacrifices that they had to make. And that coasted for the child. I was able to do the same for my child. And that's the only way you improve and make a better model of you. And I know like there are a lot of parents who got it real just backwards and there are a lot of parents out there who don't want their kid to be better than them. Now, I understand you don't want your kid to beat you in basketball in the driveway, or you don't ever want your kid to be able to make you tap out if you wrestle, or you don't want your kid to be able to run faster than you. All that shit's inevitable. The kid gonna beat you with all that shit eventually. But, they don't want their kid to be more successful than them in life. That shit's crazy. Like you're trying your best, they're trying their best, and it's gonna be like some parents out there be lightweight player hating, whether it's through like the helping them, introducing them to something, rearing them. They're like, I'm the king or the queen, and you are not to outdo me. It'd be on some Cinderella shit, Cinderella complex. So y'all are a joke. And we're not having that in the 2026, and we can't really stand by people who are doing that. And I just want to drive that home because that's really where our communal force is. It's in helping one another. It's in raising young people to be better than we were. So we could start there. Now, freeze that thought because along the parental road, there's just some activities you might want to fuck with your kids. Look some shit up. Look some shit up. Has your kid ever fucking had a pedicure. Now, I'm not talking about your baby kid, but your teen or some shit. I don't know. Go get a pedicure with the kid, male or female. You know what I'm saying? Have y'all ever been ice skating together? Both of y'all go ice skating. Go fucking ice skating with your kid. You know? Take a cooking class with your kid. And it's really dope when parents and kids can simultaneously learn. Like you learn something for the first time, like, oh shit. Like, how do we make a beat together? Take drum lessons. Do something. I don't know. Do something that's not too committal, but something where it's a memory and y'all might get a skill out of the shit. Make some clay pots together. Fuck it. Just do something. It don't cost you shit. You have a great time. It's one to grow on. It's a memory. And then help their ass with that homework. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I think parents don't realize about children is that children learn the most by watching. So if they watch you in your learning curve, when you take them to go do some shit, they'll be studying, even though you might not be telling them, watch how I do this, watch how I learn this. They'll be studying how you learn. They'll be studying how you ask questions. I remember, so I didn't grow up with my father. I grew up with my mom, and then my great-grandmother and great-grandfather, I go there on the weekend. So I learned from them a lot as well. And yes, I did say great-grandmother and great-grandfather, them good genes.
Oakland, California, that's where I'm from. Don't.
I learned a lot. Now from my dad, I remember, this is a small detail I remember from my father. And it's not like something that he taught me. It's not something that you would even teach anybody. But when I was over my mother's house, when I was other places, there was a way that I handled my pants that I took off the previous day and went into the next day with them. They would either go in the hamper, or if I was operating out of a drawer or something and they weren't dirty, I'd fold them up and put them in the drawer, right? Take the belt out of the loops. So I was over at my dad's house one time, and I remember watching him get dressed, and the belt was already in the jeans, in the loop. Now, these are the jeans that he wore the previous day. He put the jeans back on. There's no problem with that. But I watched that, and I was at this elementary school, and I was just like, damn, he didn't even take the belt out the jeans. Imagine that. And it was just, I was like, wow, that would save me 4 minutes. As an elementary school kid trying to loops through the belt, I was like, damn, the belt was already in. Shit. And he just like put them both on. That's crazy. And it was a thing where I was just like, wow, I'm going to do that. If I'm going to run these pants back the next day, I'm going to do that. And so it was just like little hacks, little things. The way a man walks in a store and addresses the proprietor. As a child, you're looking like, okay, that worked, that didn't work. In a way, a man does it is different than the way a woman does it. The way two different people do it, And so it's just cool, like somebody who you trust to have your best interest and somebody who you're just walking into place with love and goodwill, just to see how they approach things. So as a father, it's important for your child to be able to see how you interact. And it's stuff that you're not even teaching. It's just stuff they're soaking up. So while you be like, no, I was there for the birthday. I was there for the graduation. That nigga don't know how to put his jeans and belt on. So, you got a lot of your show your little man off parents. It's just not enough. It's time you made a damn change. It's time you kind of rewound your mind and understood how you handled it. Like, for instance, the way my great-grandfather would get ready. He was retired from the time I met him, right? He retired probably long before I was born. But he would still, he's from that era. He would still wake up and get dressed every day in his daytime clothes. It wasn't he didn't put his pajamas on till he went to bed. It wasn't like walking around the house in pajamas. None of that. It wasn't like, I'm home, so I'm going to change into this. Nah, I'm home, I'm going to take my hat off, I'm going to take my jacket off, I'm going to take my shoes off. And I'm going to put my slippers on. But it wasn't like sloppy, I'm at home, so I'm going to be sloppy. I can't even remember seeing my grandfather ever in a T-shirt. It was always buttoned up. Ain't that crazy? We used to be dressed. But I remember seeing in the morning how he would leave his area. He had like a little area, and that was the grown man area. But it would be neat. Everything would be in place, and it would smell good. And he would wake up before everybody. He'd hit the sink and get the aftershave cracking and all that. And, just seeing how he would present himself to the day, it was like, oh, okay, a man needs to walk out to the day ready for the day. And he never ever said that, but it was just what he exhibited. And when I'm peeping as a young boy, like, gotcha. I'm going to add that to my game. So I think in parenting, a lot of people think it's an event. It's not an event. It's a rollout of the script of life that the child will copy. And so just understand that as y'all talking about, well, his mama say, I can't even see the kid and the boy and blah. If you finessed that woman into doing all the froggy doggy styles with you, you mean you can't apply just a little bit of that finesse to get her to allow you to help with the child that you know she needs help with, that's your kid? You don't have no more finesse left? You had nothing left? Weak ass. Fools be weak. Fools be weak. So cut your mans and them off if you see the weakness. That weakness will not just be from the child. That weakness is gonna permeate to your whole situation. Everything you let them near, I swear, is gonna get on you like ink. So, don't let them leaky ink pen dudes around you. Straight up. That's real, man. Protect the children, and then take them to a game or something. Take them to a game. That would be good. I think. Something to feel on her booty too. From the heart. If I was young and rich, I'd marry you, but I'm old and I think a lot of the times games like a pro football game, for instance, let's just take a pro football game. When you take the kid to a pro football game, damn, I hate to say that because it's like an NFL endorsement or some shit, and it's expensive. But they get to see how adults act when do as I do, not as I say type adults, or whatever the fuck the saying is. You get to see how adults act. And at pro sporting events, usually adults be acting an ass. Pure ass. And so you get to see that childishness come out of them. And that's good for you to be the escort in such a situation. I mean, adults be fighting, they be drunk, they be cussing, they be acting out all the way out of their religion. But it's good for you to be the escort of your kid when they see adults doing this. But one thing I have, I don't know if any of y'all noticed this, but one thing that's noticeable, you always see it at college games, but at pro games, game could be 3-0, but it's a certain duration, it's a certain amount of time. Probably not by the fourth quarter if it's a boring game, but that's when everybody leaves. But people be standing up the whole game. Why? Why do people stand up? Why stand up the whole game? I mean, what are we doing? If there are people at the game who bought seats, why don't you sit in them joints? I got two theories. One of them is, well, first of all, the seats cost bread, right? So you done spent a little something to attend, right? So if I paid, I could stand in front of this seat, I could sit, I could cross my leg, I could do whatever I want. But I think it all starts with one person. That's the person down in front holding up the sign. Damn. Now, if I'm behind the person holding up the sign, shit, I got to stand up. Because the person holding up the sign, they want to be seen by TV. They came with a whole mood. Now I got to stand up if I'm behind them. Now the person behind me got to stand up. Now the person, if the field is over here, it's like we sitting like shading the 50-yard line. Now this person, because I'm standing up, they got to stand up. Now the person next to them got to stand up. Now the person behind them got to stand up. And it's like a domino effect. That's one theory. I don't know. The other theory I have about why everybody has to stand up is that when the game is going on, if it's a televised game, people want to be seen by TV. And they see them cameras panning. And they want to be seen. And so they stand up. And then that causes everybody else to stand up. So it only takes like if like 1 to 5 people sat down, hella people would sit down. Now, baseball games, they stand up too. But baseball games be going hella long, and there's hella time in between plays that a baseball game is more of a sit-down affair. You know, you'd be like, man, fuck that. You know, it takes a lot to make a baseball fan stand up. Something got to really be cracking. But football fans, they always on their damn feet. I don't get it. The team could be garbage. But, you know, part of it, here's the third theory, and then I just want y'all to let me know why you always standing up during the game. The third theory is a football game, for all you all have been, a football game is a production. It's a big old boogie down production. And in the production, the football game itself is one of 10 things going on at the same time. So it could be 2nd down and 4. Who cares about 2nd down and 4? Second quarter, 2nd down and 4. Whatever. People are standing up because the scoreboard is saying do a dance, or like the Jumbotron saying do a dance. It'll distract the other team. Then you got like the people in the crowd, like the mascot and mascot-esque people, do the wave, do the da-da-da-da-da-da. Say, blow so-and-so sucks, right? And then so you have all these different things. Now they shooting T-shirts in the stands, and dude is saying, get your popcorn here. And then over here, they throwing dolls to the first 10 people who catch them or whatever. So it's so many things going on at once. Then meanwhile, you got the cheerleaders going on. You're like, well, I like her. So people standing up looking, oh, shoot, you know. Baby got gumption down there. I see you, baby. I see you. You know, so like all that might be going on at the same time. And then, oh, meanwhile, did they get the first down? It's oh no, penalty, a 2nd and 9, right? They standing up for 2nd and 9. So it's not even about the game at a certain point. That's just what I think. I don't know. I haven't been to a game. At this point, it's been, damn, I can't even remember the last NFL. I used to always go to NFL games, but I can't even remember the last NFL game I went to because I lightweight turned on that shit. Like, how come it ain't no black owners? I've talked about this before. So really at the bottom of the bottom line, it is fuck the NFL. But I'm glad college players are getting money off that NIL business, you know? So I'm glad it is generating a pathway, and it's not just using them to break their backs for the shield, you know? But still, I haven't been to an NFL game. I'm cool with that. It's been a minute. But But still, just let me know. Why y'all be standing up all the time? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Restless leg syndrome? Come on. You pay for the seat, sit your ass down in it. If you're the person with the sign in your hand and it's like not a lot of drama going on and you got the sign, hold the sign up for like 2 plays and then sit the fuck down. Then wait for the touchdown or the goal line stand or the field goal. But just don't stand your ass up trying to be on TV. Nobody will even remember your sign. Let's be honest. In TV world, how many fan signs do you remember? Name 5. Exactly. Name 5. No, I was probably too quick. Yeah, off top, it's tough. If you didn't make the sign, it's really tough to even remember the damn sign. So if you have the sign, you gotta 2 plays out of every 10 plays, your ass get to stand up. Otherwise, keep them buns parked. Yeah. Keep your anus on row 8, seat 40. And so the other people could see, Goodness gracious. That's just a little etiquette. Something if you're trying to make a change this year, something very simple you could do for your child.
Debo rap over emo rap. I run these guppy niggas, dude. They comfort food. I snack on Florida Ave and eat a meal in Miami. You're everywhere. Touching souls from kids to grannies. I'm on 580, Georgia Ave, MLK, Route 50, Chesapeake, South Street. I'm up in New York City.
And with that, talking about making a change, let's talk about some change. Let's talk about some change. I mean some bread. I mean some Skrilla scratch papers. I mean some layers of bread. I mean some slices, some loaves, some dough, some greenbacks. Let's talk about it. So I learned about a very important thing that I really want everybody to know. I don't even care if everybody knows, for real. It's just something I got to discuss because I've been discussing this shit. A lot of you all know, and many of you have yet to explore. But the thing that I have learned, all right now, okay. Let's keep this between me and you. Please. I've learned that every person who is gainfully employed from the age of 20 to retiring age of 65
can get rich as fuck.
If you do some very simple steps, you can be a liquid millionaire without being smart, privileged, or talented. Liquid means you have the cash. It's not like in a real estate piece or in some luck. You could have over $1 million cash, liquid money, asset, actualized by retirement age. This is without being smart. Now you might need to get your damn paper and pen out. This is without being smart, privileged, or talented. You can have $1 million plus on retirement time, or lucky. It's no trick to it. Understand this. As simple as this is, it's hidden in plain sight. It's the magic of compound interest. Say what? Compound interest. Now, when put into full context, compound interest is something that you might learn about in 8th grade, you might learn about in 11th grade, but it's kind of for the purposes of fulfilling the curriculum. You might have heard about it, but I know for sure I heard about it. but I know for sure it wasn't taught. It was mentioned. We might have done some problems, but it wasn't taught. And I can't fault the teacher. I know that the teacher knew about compound interest, but they themselves weren't fully applying the knowledge principle to it. Okay, through compound interest. I know the game is to be sold, not told, but I'm gonna go ahead and give it out. Because the game is only to be sold, not told, if you believe in scarce game. Right? That's the only fucking reason somebody says that silly ass shit. If you believe in scarce game. Right? Game is abundant. So I'm gonna let you into this room of game. And who knows, as I learn, I might tell you more. But you know, whenever motherfuckers say game is to be sold, not told, I be lightweight like fuck them. But not unless it's in the interest of their time, right? Now, this is something that you can do with time on your side. Use compound interest to your advantage. So I know I put out a hell of a premise, and I was like, the average person without being smart, talented, or privileged or lucky, they can have $1 million in their bank account with the most basic ass job, or even being unemployed, but just something consistent where you're getting some bread, right? You could be a very low level hustler and do this. Okay, this is how you do this. First of all, compound interest is interest that accrues on top of principal, or interest that piles up on top of some money that's already there, right? That chunk of money with the interest on it, that interest sandwich, then gets another little patty on top, right? That's compound interest. Then that goes into another cycle and more interest is added. Then you get another bun on top. Now you got a Big Mac, a big interest mac sandwich. Then you take that big interest mac sandwich and you add another patty on top and some lettuce. Bam. So what happens is you start out with an amount of money, you put it in something where interest, annual interest, is assessed or is made, and then more interest keeps piling on top and you get more and more and more. So it's not like you get more and more and more per how big your sandwich is. Okay, so it's not just how much you got in the beginning. The interest on $200, 8.5% interest on $200 is way different than 8.5% interest on $20,000. Okay, your sandwich of bread keeps getting bigger, more interest keeps getting compiled based on how big the sandwich is. It's the magic of compound interest, and it works with time. So check this out. Very simply, because I don't want to complicate it and start sounding smart. Sounding smart is the enemy of wealth. So anybody you talk to, and this is what I learned, anybody you talk to who's discussing wealth, like monetary wealth, if they start sounding like they're trying to sound smart, there's two reasons to that. One of them, they don't want you to understand. Another one, they don't understand. Those are the two reasons if a motherfucker starts sounding too smart and they trying to tell you how to get rich. Okay? And another thing I also realize when it comes to getting paid, getting real money, it's okay to ask any fucking question you don't know. Because the terms that one might use, assuming that you know what they're talking about, they're going to be reintroduced into several pieces of what this person's talking about, right? So let me start. For the untalented, not too smart, unlucky, not privileged people who want to get rich. This is how the fuck you do it. First of all, in the stock market, you have a thing called the S&P 500. Tell me if I lost you. You have the S&P 500. The S&P 500, S&P, it stands for like Standard and Poor's. Some motherfuckers' last names who came up with the shit, right? The S&P 500, it's a index that measures the top 500 companies in the world based on how those companies are run. Every so often, those 500 companies get reassessed to see if they still belong in that 500. That's the S&P 500. Those 500 companies have funds where you can, for lack of a better term, invest one amount that will be spread throughout those 500 companies, and your money will grow as those 500 companies grow. Now, that's the part where you don't have to be smart. You just have to put the money in something. I've had various suggestions on what fund do I look up. Look up Vanguard, okay? Vanguard ain't give me no money. But I'm just saying, for instance, Vanguard, okay? That's one fund where you can put your money in and just, hey, S&P 500. You could do this on your phone just as you would like look up somebody's IG. Bam. You would put that shit in there, S&P 500. You not falling in love with this stock or this idea or this owner or none of that shit. I just want the top 500 companies. Splat. Now, over the lifetime of the S&P 500, I could be wrong on this, but I think that shit started in 1957. But let me see. Let me. Hold up, just so I'm not kids napping. Let me Sisney. Hold up, S&P 500. When did that shit start? S&P 500 beginning date. Let me see. That joint started March 4th. The S&P 500 began its current 500 stock form on March 4th, 1957, launched by Standard & Poor's to track major U.S. companies as a broad market gauge. Okay, so maybe it's the top 500 companies in America and not the world. As a broad market gauge evolving from the earlier 90 stock indexes dating back to the 1920s and is now a key benchmark for U.S. market performance weighted by the market cap. Don't let me confuse you, but this S&P 500 launched in 1957. Now, all of you all are pretty much aware that markets go up, markets crash, markets boom, markets crash, markets stay all right, markets be kind of fucked up. You know, they do all that shit, right? Okay. As markets do all that up and down business, you have up and you have down, but you have forward the whole time, right? Throughout the ups and downs, the S&P 500 varies. Not varies. It steadies at about 8.5% every year annual growth. So your return is 8.5% every year if you hold it over time. Now, if you're like, okay, I don't fucking get it, get this. Just to make it simple, because I don't want to sound smart and I don't want to be confusing. But if you download any one of the many compound interest calculator apps, I downloaded one called Compounder, okay? Damn, I'm fucking, hold up. Where's my compounder joint? Okay, so here we go. Here's a simple math on how somebody, say a 20-year-old, can have over $1 million by the time they're 65. All right, so say you're 20 years old, right? On this compounder app, it has a thing called it says starting balance. That's what you start with. Periodic additions. That means how often you put money into this. Consistency is fucking key. Annual return rate, because I'm saying you just put it in the S&P 500 and you never touch it.
Never touch it.
8.5% annual return rate, periodic additions, and your duration. So between the age of 20 and 65, that's 45 years. Oh, this shit about to be ignorant. Jeez. I'm not even going to say, I'm going to say the age 25, right? Because 45 years, that shit would be too much money. But if you start at age 25, no, fuck it. Say you start at age 20 and you put, you start a fund, right? And this just means you start like let's say a profile, right? Y'all understand the term profile. You start that shit at age 20 or you start the shit for your kid. See, I'm keeping this together. Start it for your kid. Put $200 in the joint, right? Then the periodic additions mean every month. I mean, this fool's 25, but it might be a little rocky for them starting off. Whatever. You put in $200 into this fund that they started every month. And then it's like, motherfucker, you got to get your 200 on. Like, so if you spending money on your herb, and on your drink, and on your nonsense and whatever, get that together. Put this $200 every month away. It's going to 8.5% compound interest. You do this for 40 years. So think about this. You start out with something. You put $200 away every single month for 40 years. The average calculator ain't going to give you the answer. How much money you think the kid ended up with? No matter of fact, let's say 45 years because like we're really saying age 20 to retirement age of 65. This is the kid having a normal job. Normal, right? Now consider they're already paying for Netflix. They're eating fast food. They're not buying groceries and cooking. So there's already waste in the normal budget, right? They're paying for all these apps. They're paying for all this type shit that's just wasteful. Their shit ain't streamlined. The discipline hasn't been put there. So you need to look at it like this. You put in $200 every month as a working person. And what you end up with at age 65 is $1.25 million. Cash. Ducats. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world because it compiles in a way that's just fucking amazing. Right now, it almost want to bring a hustler to his tears because hustlers, last night I watched Paid in Full and I also watched Belly, right? I don't know what the fuck was possessing me, but whatever. I saw both them joints last night again. And when you look at Paid in Full, for those of y'all who don't know, it's about it's about a hustler era in New York. And it's crazy because AZ's run between Rich Porter, Alpo, and AZ's run was only like a year. So all this shit that all these people are trying to live up to, breaking the law, fucking their lives up, fucking their community up, is to live up to something that took 1 year's time to do. These fools was popping in like 1987 or some. That shit was hella quick. I can't remember. It was like hella quick. And then it was over. And so, like, you look at that shit and it's like, wow, all the stuff that grown-ups still really glamorize, it happened so quick in the lives of, like, people in their late teens, early 20s, maybe even mid-20s. But despite that, you look at all the money, and as somebody who's hit big licks and lived the life of, custom-fitted hustler, it'll make you want to cry when you realize how many times you fumbled your guaranteed millions. Okay, so on this compounder app, I'll give you another example, right? For those of y'all who like to eat the cracked crab and the lobster and pop the champagne and do all that. Let's say your starting balance is $1,500, right? This is you not being smart. This is you just being very disciplined. Okay, very, very disciplined. As a hustler, as somebody who's a victim of compound interest. You might be paying late fees on something. You might be letting your parking tickets double up. You might be fucking around and paying extra something because fuck it, you could get to the front of the line and you didn't register early enough or whatever it is. You might be used to paying extras. Fuck it, hey, tip the valet because I don't feel like looking for parking or whatever it is, right? You might be doing all this in your life. And if you think about in one of your best hustling years, how much money you fucked up doing that extra shit. I'm not talking about the necessary, essential, live your good life shit, but I mean like that doofy shit. Look, so starting balance, right? Now for all y'all, say you, I don't even say whatever age that was, right? You start an account with, and you totally could have done this, $10,000, right? From the $10,000, say from that, this is gonna be embarrassing to y'all. But say from that, you was like, you know what? I'm dropping $500 a month. I'm putting $500 a month on something. Now, say you did that joint, right, for, I don't know, 20, oops. I'm gonna say for 20 years, right? And it was nothing to you to start with 10,000. Think about everybody who got busy and who had real success at some point. You had $10,000 that you was just like, fuck it. Like several times, fuck it, we're going to Vegas, right? Put 1,000 on black. Win or lose, it was nothing. We've all, come on, I'm not gonna say we've all, but you know how it is when you're walking around, you got some $1,000 chips in your hand around some roulette tables. You know what it is. You know what it is. And then sometimes you just got so much, you've touched so much money that you just be walking around looking at jewelry. And that's your man. Man, fuck it. Give me that. Get that for her. A lot of y'all have done it, right? And looking at, and for me, I'm back to paid in full. Looking at paid in full, I was like, damn, these niggas didn't know shit about compound interest. And none of these niggas in this movie who are being portrayed have shit now. Most of them don't even have a life, but they didn't know shit about compound interest, right? But we're just saying, you start out with $10,000, right? Bow. Fuck it. Hey, I can't go on a trip. I can't go on a trip with y'all, but I'm gonna put $10,000 in this fund, right? Then every month, I'm just gonna put 500 on it. Fuck it. Say you did that for 20 years, right? Right now, and that's just in the S&P 500. You're not even thinking about it. You're not reading the Wall Street Journal. You're not listening about it. You're not getting no tips. They're just, man, let me let that sleeping dog lie. 20 years, that's $367,000. You would have had something in the kitty off something that you've been blowing away into ways. Now say you did it for your kid, right? You fucked around, did that for 40 years. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That's $2.3 million you would have had tucked away. So I'm not going to keep doing calculations, but all I'm saying is that compound interest is something that somebody who makes very little regular money just has to look at how they spend their money. And what I learned a long time ago, as a person who sells things. Matter of fact, go to grindstoneuniversal.com. This is a break in the damn action. Go to, you see it. You see it. Go to grindstoneuniversal.com. You know? Sometimes you got to break out in the song. What did Ric Flair say? Woo! I just can't speak these parables without catching the spirit. But what I'm saying is, if people who touch regular money don't involve themselves in compound interest, they're kind of messing up the purpose of touching regular money. And that means you, dog walker. That means you, government worker. That means you, contracted worker. That means you, athlete. That means you, entrepreneur. That means you, teacher. That means you, hustler. That means you, house cleaner. That's what that means. That means everybody who, once you receive some bread, part of that's yours to build your future. That's not just yours to be paying out. Man, I got this Netflix subscription. Man, I got this, I don't know what the hell people be having subscriptions for, but that, $300 gym, nigga, $300 gym, that's your motherfucking money right there. You probably can't afford the gym. If you can't afford to save, you can't afford the gym. Your ass needs to go to that park. They got them damn monkey bars and that, and some shit you can walk around and some grass. You can do some push-ups and crunches and shit on. You can't afford that $300 shit. A lot of y'all in this in the little special clubs that's like, $250 a month to be a part of or some shit. So you could go squeeze in dinner or events or whatever the fuck. You can't afford that shit if you can't afford to save. And you really got to look at it like that. Like for real. That's how you got to look at shit if you want effortless money to be yours at a certain time. Now, a lot of people might say, but the market might crash, the stocks might fuck up, the da-da-da-da. You're right. But the averages make your ass wrong. So yes, if there's a crash here, that don't mean there's going to be a crash here this time next year, bitch. Not in the S&P 500. So I'm saying, find you a fund, put that bread in, let that shit sit. Don't fucking think. Don't even think. You've just invested in the top 500 companies in the world. You sick them dogs out to bring you 8.5% a fucking year. Do it. Let it sit. Don't touch it. I don't care how dire your circumstances get. Don't touch it. And this is where you help your kids. Listen up. This is the part where you help your kids. Everybody hustling their ass off because my baby need milk and my baby, we got to get out the hood. Or, shit, I don't want life to be this hard for my child. This is the controversial part, right? If you do this for them now and start doing something for yourself now, don't touch that shit. But by the time they get ready to crack open part of that egg or you get ready to crack that shit open for them, they have a hell of a lump sum, so they start their savings with, their investment portfolio with, right? They put that shit in the S&P. So now your motherfucking kid, your kid's starting their kid off with $200,000 in the kitty, right? Fuck it, just say I'm just throwing that out there, but that's low balling. That's super low balling. That means like you didn't hardly put shit in and you worked a regular ass job and you did some normal ass hustling. So they got $200,000 in the kitty, right? They start their kid off with that shit when their kid's like fucking 0 years old, 10 years old or some shit. Now you start stacking that, and that's how you get generational wealth. And you can start that shit with a regular job. I just told you how. Rewind this shit if you're on a peep game. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be lucky. You don't have to be privileged. You don't have to be smart. The S&P 500, put that shit in a fund and just let the S&P 500 rock. Do not touch that shit. Put money in monthly. You can calculate how much money you'll have at a certain time. Whatever that is, whatever you said, yeah, Netflix, I'll pay. Yeah, Adobe, I'll pay. Yeah, Canva, I'll pay. Yeah, I know a lot of motherfuckers play video games and shit, and you got to buy shit for the video game. How much you be spending on that shit? How much you Nike heads be spending on your habit, nigga? What the fuck is wrong with you? I understand what's wrong with you. I can't say it like I'm from another planet. But all I'm saying, like I said before, now's the time to make that damn change. Is I'm lying? That's how normal discipline turns into something real. Discipline wins all wars. Long time ago, discipline put me in a cutlass on Michelin's. I didn't have nothing, but I got what I wanted. You know, so all I'm saying is this is how you do what you're supposed to do and it get what it's supposed to. So I know it's easy to fuck off and we have big displays of signaling how we have it good, where our money is. This is for y'all rich motherfuckers out here. A lot of y'all flex is what school your kid goes to, right? A lot of y'all people who want to do that flex and you want to skip over parenting or doing like the nitty gritty, you know? And I get it. It's FOMO. It's like, damn, if I don't give this to the kid won't have a fair shot. But you put them in a hell of expensive ass school. And the school might fuck around and give you some money. But then you still got to come up with some of it. Now, free education, I'm with that shit. Fuck it. Do the whole experience if it's free. And free, I mean, not so-and-so over there is paying for it. But I mean, it's actually free. Not like, yeah, but my mom is paying for it. No. I mean, you get some scholarship activities. That's what I'm talking about. That's when that shit makes sense. This goes from K through 12 through college. Whenever you're paying tuition, peep this. The tuition that you're paying to guarantee something. You don't put money in anything like that without expecting something to happen. Some type of educational magic. Some type of life opportunity balance, right? Now, I'm here to tell you that doesn't guarantee your kid shit, except for a diploma saying they graduated from there. Now, whatever that gets, cool. But when is that thing going to return the money that you spent? Now, this is when it gets a little controversial. Let's look at it like this. Matter of fact, I get back to the calculator, right? Okay, so if college, I think there are 3 reasons why people should go to college nowadays, actually, and not more than 3. But I think it's 3 reasons now, specifically because a college education does not guarantee you any type of opportunity in life. It don't mean you graduated top of your class. That don't mean you're going to be able to buy a house. It don't mean you're going to have any sort of independence with your time because you got that. It doesn't, right? It doesn't even guarantee your ass a good time. I think that in a lot of ways, it can often delay adult growth and it can guarantee debt a lot of the times. And, those are the downsides. But I mean, ain't that enough? But another thing that college could do on the upside, it could group you with friends for life who are doing shit. It can show you how to complete processes from beginning to end. Because like a lot of the things in college are, you have to be consistent through the year, do shit from beginning to end in order to complete it. And a lot of times it's hella fun, right? So you kind of had like a vacation adult camp for 4 years. A lot of times in a way. Now, these are the 3 reasons why I think somebody should go to college. Number 1, if it's free. Number 2, if you were using it as a trade school, meaning you're using it in your undergrad major is a funnel to take you to your profession, which you know will pay you when you graduate with that shit. Number 3, you play sports and they're paying you with you get paid with NIL bread to attend that college. Those are the only 3 reasons your ass should be in college. Other than that, you've guaranteed yourself debt and you've guaranteed that you're starting life at age 22, 23, and you're facing a world where these other motherfuckers started at 19. And so 19, 20 or some shit. And so like you're trying to catch up in the regular world, waving your diploma in front of everybody. And we're in a world now where they don't really give a fuck about diplomas because everybody who would hire an entry-level diploma motherfucker who went to college for something that does not directly feed into that trade, you're an entry-level position. So we're already trying to replace your ass with a robot. Already. So you just got that debt. You figure out how to pay that debt off. Good luck with buying a house, nigga. Good luck. Ain't happening. It ain't happening. But now, say you go to college, and I don't know what the average college costs, but let's just say, I'll be gentle with it. I'll say $55,000 a year. That means that you're gonna pay $220,000 to go to the university of whatever, right? And I'm being gentle with this $55,000. But fuck it, I'll be gentle. So say you put in $220,000 into a fund. I mean, because you're going to put it in their college pocket, right? So this is for the person who does not go to college free. This is for the person whose sports isn't going to pay them. And this is for the person who's in college with the major that does not funnel directly into the thing that's going to pay them more than tuition costs, right? Okay. You take, this is about to be vicious. But say you take $220,000, because that's what your ass gonna pay for college at one of them cheap ass colleges. But fuck it. Say you even go to one of the expensive colleges, you get you a little rebate type joint, right? So you spend this $220,000 in 4 years on an 18-year-old. But fuck it, they get out, they 22. The retirement age is 65. So say, I don't know what they're going to be doing in life, but they had a major in which they did not take that major and guide them there straight to my fucking success. So somebody graduates from college who's not lucky, they're not particularly privileged, they're not incredibly smart. I mean, they're smart, but like, they're not like about to invent some shit, so they're not smart and they're not talented. They're just normal, right? They went to college and they graduated, they're normal. This type of person is everywhere. It's not bad, but like they're not relying on those things. That's a better way to say it. Now, say you could have sent them to college as a fucking parent, right? Because you're like, nah, because I went to college. I'm gonna tell you now, the college of yesteryear does not do for the child what the college of today does, because the other side of graduation has changed. So sending a motherfucker there to prepare them for yesterday is like way backwards. Even when you say this shit, it don't sound right, right? But fuck it. You put $220,000. That's 4 years of college, of a normal college in 2026. $220,000. You don't put any more money into this fund, right? Bam, just put that, bet that on the S&P. That joint increases 8.5% a year. That $220,000 from the time they're 22 to 65. What's that? 38 years. Let me see. Now, they could stumble around in life and like, fuck, they could be a bum, they could be a couch surfer, they could be all that shit, right? And by the time they reach 65, they might have done something. But they might have just lived like regular America. Maybe they have a savings that they could retire on. Maybe they don't, right? Maybe they have to keep working. But if they'd skipped the college step because they went in not knowing what they wanted to do, you take that same money that you was going to put and give to that university. By the time that person is 65 years old, that money that that same bread that you would have put in college, you put that in the S&P fund, that kid would have that grown up would have $5.5 million cash, ducats, by the time they're 65 years old. And that's not being smart, talented, privileged, or whatever the other shit was, right? Now, you don't have to be now, first of all, if you're taking loans out for college, right, which a lot of people do, you think about the compound interest that that the lending institution is making off of the loan, right? Because you're paying, you be like, man, I still owe something stupid, right? Yeah, you do still owe something stupid. That's how compound interest works. Either you pay it or you make it. And then when you think about what being rich is, this is the problem with a lot of hustlers, and it's so fucked up. But really being rich is this simple. Being rich is when your passive income makes you more than your expenses. So the passive income is something you don't have to work on. The passive income is something that you did something and the shit is just coming in. It's not like something that you're doing and you have to keep fucking working on. That's active. That's not passive. Okay, you did something that shit just keep on coming in when your money is making money. That's passive income. When your passive income is making more than you spend, your ass is rich. So think about the people who we could look at in society who had bread and went fucking flat ass broke and don't have shit to look forward to. Those are motherfuckers who did not understand compound interest. Somebody was an angel to Allen Iverson and took some of his bread, put it in a fund that he could cash out when he's 55 years old because he was burning through money crazy. He would have been broke at 55 years old if this person didn't look out for him, right? But they put it so he gets some nice piece of cake when he get older. And hopefully, like, you put some of that, fools be having kids, man, you got to put that shit away. But this is a way that you can make sure the bread is stacked. People buy out the bar. People do private jet joints and go in Gucci and, all that bullshit. Shut the store down, walk out with hella bags. All that could have been the beginning of a fund that could have guaranteed, regardless of how you fall on your face, that could have guaranteed you $1 million when you get older. That's all I'm saying. If I didn't tell you anything else, make a change in 2026 and make some change. And remember, you got to look out for your motherfucking children. You got to do all the things. So if this didn't spark you to start thinking some stuff, you didn't check your pulse, And a whole nother thing, sit your ass down at the game. Once again, go to grindstoneuniversal.com. I'm Grindstone. And I got a new album out. Look for Grindstone on all streaming platforms. It's called Exquisite Tension. And let me know how you feel about that. Sorry for my language. I'm out.